Hi, and welcome to Tim and Joel's Weekly Draw. Joel, on a scale of Connor sweeping to Bernie Sanders mittens, how good do you think this week's going to be?
Tim. This is a lob ball question, even by your standards.
It's been a long week.
Conor McGregor sleeping with Bernie Sanders wrapped around him. That's the only answer, and if anyone thinks differently, I'm sorry, you're wrong. But you'll never be wrong if you come and visit us over at timandjoelpod.com, or you subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/timandjoelpod. We're live every single Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern, where we talk about wrestling, just like we do now. We're going to talk about the week ahead. Shall we, Tim?
We shall.
Let's do it. Monday Night Raw, we've got one thing on the docket as the Royal Rumble approaches. Goldberg and Drew McIntyre are going to go face to face, and it's going to be actually Drew and Goldberg. It's not going to be Gilbert and David Krumholz as Drew McIntyre. No. It's going to be the real deal, the original Coke. No new Coke, no clear Coke. It's going to be the real championship match for the Rumble. Face to face on Monday.
Wait, that guy's last name was Krumhole?
Holtz.
Krumholz. Okay.
Yes.
That's a little better. Yeah. I mean, you know, they're doing their contractual obligation by showing up the 1 week before the Royal Rumble. Drew would have been there. I have my doubt. I feel like maybe the plan for Goldberg changed not at all.
Yeah, I was going to say, I find it very interesting that the champion goes down and is test positive for COVID-19. And then the challenger is just like, okay, so what? They can't even get him to do a video promo, send it a... No, it's just like, you guys build it, I'll just show up. Meanwhile, Drew was like, I'll send in selfie cam stuff all day, every day from my gym and, promote the hell out of this match. Goes to show what we're looking at.
Yeah, I have
a
feeling that the plan for this changed barely at all, other than the promos Drew cut were on video instead of in the ring. Like, I don't think Goldberg would have even been there until this week anyway, so...
Probably not. But here's someone who has fit in and someone who's been throwing his weight around, and that's The Miz.
Mm-hmm.
So my question to you, Tim, is how will The Miz factor into the segment, to the match, everything, after saying he's next last week on Monday Night Raw?
Honestly, I love this. This is the one thing that's making this kind of interesting for me, because I feel like they're going to leverage The Miz as, Goldberg's punching bag, and, Drew might actually retain here. So I'm curious to see how they're going to mix this up, and deeply concerned that Goldberg might win the title. So I'm really praying that he doesn't.
The only way that they do it and it works in any sense, and people won't be happy about it, is if The Miz comes in, makes it a triple threat again, like he did at TLC, but this time Goldberg just spears the crap out of Miz and gets 1-2-3 on Miz, wins the title without pinning Drew. Drew still looks strong. Drew can go back and win the title back, but we'll just be wondering, why did we do this in the first place?
Right? Like, it's just this weird run around. Yeah, I don't know. What I could also see them doing in a way that is similarly horrifying is Drew and Goldberg have an actual match that lasts maybe 10 minutes. Goldberg is then, yeah, exactly. It's already too long. Goldberg is tired. Miz cashes in after Goldberg wins and pins Goldberg or something to get the title off of Goldberg, so that Goldberg doesn't actually have to stick around and do anything, which is awful, and I don't want that to happen.
Well, what isn't awful is the Royal Rumble, which will be next Sunday. So expect some fireworks, expect some old men hitting their heads against doors, and next week you can expect us to give our predictions for the Rumble, the matches, and everything in between. So good luck to us doing that. Shall we?
Yeah,
continue?
Let's move on.
AEW on Wednesday night. We've got a full slate of cards, so let's talk about it. I think this is how the night's going to progress, basically beat by beat. So here we go. Chris Jericho and MJF taking on the Varsity Blondes. That's a team of Griff Garrison and Brian Pillman Jr. CJ and MJF are the official tag team of the Inner Circle now. Tim, what do you think?
They'll win, or AEW, if you're listening, I know this probably isn't your plan, but have the Varsity Blondes win, show that maybe Chris Jericho and MJF aren't the best choice for Inner Circle official tag team because they couldn't even beat the Squashable team. Maybe start another little Inner Circle feud. Keep it in the mix.
Interesting.
It's a better story than them going after the Bucks. Like, you got...
That's true. Proud and Powerful are kind of lost in the shuffle right now. And we said it on our show, Tim and Joel Call It in the Ring, where Proud and Powerful would make a really good team going back to Impact, considering they may have made their name there once before.
Yeah.
So we'll see where Proud and Powerful factor into things. But for now, Jericho and MJF take on Varsity Blondes. That'll probably be the opening contest on Wednesday. Followed up, Eddie Kingston will take on Lance Archer. It'll be a hard-hitting affair. It'll be a ghastly affair for those who are looking for nice, light wrestling. No, it won't be that. Eddie needs a win.
He does.
Lance Archer is probably not the guy to give it to him unless Eddie gets supremely lucky.
Yeah, it's happening a lot faster than I expected too. Like, they went right into this, eh? Like, it's just like a...
Well, and that's the problem with Lance Archer. He's kind of gotten lost in the shuffle over the last few months. He was injured. He also was contracted COVID-19 or was around people who had, so he was off TV. So he's looking to get back on track. But the question is, where does Lance Archer land, even if he takes out Eddie Kingston, who hasn't been winning himself?
Yeah.
Do you put Lance Archer on a losing streak and then make him less of a monster? Do you have Eddie finally win a match and start, clawing his way up the ranks? What happens? What's the point of the match, and where do these two go from here?
Yeah, it's hard to say because, like, at this point, Lance Archer is kind of lost in the shuffle of whether or not he's even a heel or a face. Like, he's a face right now. I don't know how he even got into this mess. He just started coming out to help people, and I don't really get the rationale for it. Like, he's got Jake, who also has gone through some stuff, right? So it's just an unfortunate circumstance right now that I think neither one of them have a good direction. So I'm curious to see where they take it, but I don't have a whole lot of suggestions either. I think the muscle for hire angle for Eddie and his crew makes the most sense. But in that case, Eddie needs to win this. So
the other side of it is, Archer maybe does need to be the muscle, but maybe Archer needs to shed a few pounds, and maybe Jake is the weight that he sheds in favor of a younger Eddie Kingston.
Maybe, yeah, he could join the crew as an enforcer. I think that would be probably the better way, since Eddie's group's a little light now. So,
yeah. So we'll see what happens on Wednesday between these two, when they probably beat the living tar out of each other and maybe even gain a modicum of respect. Speaking of respect, Dax Harwood's going to take on Jungle Boy. Now, going into this match, I was kind of, I was sour on it. And then I watched them talk about how, Jungle Boy thinks FTR can make him a better wrestler, and FTR wants to show Jurassic Park basically how to work. And it's kind of it's their side quest trying to get back to the AEW tag team titles for FTR. So all men involved, so all of FTR, including Tully Blanchard and all of Jurassic Express, will be at ringside on Wednesday. But between the two men, who do you think can walk out as the victor?
I expect Dax to go over, but it's going to be like an impressive showing for both men. I think that's the goal. So I expect there to be a lot of back and forth in terms of offense.
If you give a man a new theme that is very popular, you better start putting him over properly. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, that's true.
At 9 p.m. Eastern, Cody will respond to Shaq, because that's just what Cody does. And my question really becomes, now what? Brandy's pregnant. She's out. She's not going to be, part of a match. So are they going to replace her with Red Velvet after what we saw in the doctor's office? Or the waiting room, I guess that's what it's called.
Yeah.
It can't be a singles match. It cannot be Cody versus Shaq one-on-one, especially with the Sting match that was announced for Revolution that we'll talk about in just a few minutes. What are we doing here?
I don't know. I don't want to see Shaq in wrestling at all. I don't care. Like, it's so weird. I barely remember.
See Shaq do stupid things.
I'd fall down mostly.
Yes.
Like, what? I barely even remember what Shaq said to Cody. Like, Cody's just all over the place right now. Like,
didn't this whole thing start with, like, Jade calling Cody a bitch?
Yeah, and like, again, it's because Shaq took personal offense when Cody called himself the Giant Killer, which he's also just not even. Like, that's it. Shaq speaks for all giants.
It's also very awkward to do that because the giant is no longer with us. So they have to find a way to tell this story by tiptoeing around the things they haven't done. And the problem becomes Shaq and Cody have not been face to face. They haven't. They've literally done everything to keep them from going face to face as if they think this is going to be, a match of the year or a story of the year. But there's no story here.
No, they've meandered 5 times already. Like, Cody has the control to choose this, and he's picking matches with Peter Avalon.
What if the actual story here is it's not about Shaq and Cody? It's about Shaq and Snoop Dogg. Maybe it's going to be Shaq and Snoop. Maybe that's the match you want.
I haven't seen Jade Cargill wrestle. At this point, all that would save this for me is if Jade Cargill picked up Red Velvet and beat Cody down with her. That's where I'm at with
Fine,
this.
good enough for me. Good enough. So let's move along, shall we? Hangman Page is going to take on Ryan Nemeth. And if the name Nemeth sounds familiar, that's because Dolph Ziggler's brother is Ryan Nemeth. Yes, that's the way it is. So he'll probably lose on Wednesday to Hangman, who is trying to be a singles superstar again. Tim, anything to add on this match?
I have a feeling that sad John Silver will be in and around the match. Just looking sad.
He's in the main event.
Yeah, I know. That's fine. He can still be sad. No.
He can be sad. He won't be there.
Maybe like a sad clown segment in the back. We'll see.
Oh.
Yeah.
Maybe on BTE by the time people watch this.
Oh,
they
yeah,
will
probably.
have done some sort of segment where they're all sad over what happened. But I won't be sad at 9:25 Eastern when Dr. Britt Baker DND takes on Shauna. Huh? Or Shayna?
I don't know. I don't know
Shana?
who she is even. I saw her ring gear and noped out. Shana. Is she good? Have you seen her?
She's French. We're 2 weeks away from Beach Break, and Dr. Britt Baker is looking for some momentum as she gets ready to take on Thunder Rosa, and that will be one heck of a match at Beach Break in 2 weeks. And also Thunder Rosa, she can't be far behind, right? Maybe she's finding a way into Daly's place as we speak after her 2-week quarantine period has ended. So it'll be an interesting match, and we kind of know how it's gonna end, and that's just the way it is with the women's division in AEW. So instead, we'll move along to Jon Moxley addressing the Beach Break main event, which was announced last week. It's going to be Kenny and the Good Brothers taking on the team of Mox, Pac, and Phoenix. It's gonna be good.
Yeah, it'll be good. It's weird how we got here, but it'll be good.
What do you mean it's weird? Kenny is a champion. Mox was a champion.
Yeah, and they beat
Good
up,
Brothers are Impact Tag Team champions. They beat up Mox. They beat up Penta. By the way, that wasn't actually Penta who was beat up last week on AEW.
That's very funny.
Just casually putting it out there. Penta's out of action for a little while, but that was not Penta himself. They put some guy in long sleeves and a hood. So there we go.
Wow. Yeah,
do we expect Mox to say anything? Listen, Mox promos are great. Do we expect him to say anything that's going to really change the way we perceive this match or the team that he's going to be in? Or is it just going to be a fire promo for Moxley?
No, it'll be a good promo. Like, I don't know. He always kind of surprises me a little bit because it's simple, but it's effective like every single time. So curious what direction he's going to take. Should be good. Like, he's got a lot to say about them and their character as people, I guess. So.
Yeah, exactly. Earlier this week, AEW announced that at Revolution, we're going to see the team of Darby Allin and Sting taking on Cage and Ricky Starks in a street fight. Now, most likely going to be some sort of cinematic match. And it's been a slow burn of a feud by today's standards, at least. So, I mean, here, it'll be these two guys talking like they always do. And then Team Taz will come out and they'll talk too.
Yep. That's what'll happen. I'm excited for this match. Like, that's what I'm really looking forward to. So,
really?
Yeah. You know what? I think that there's a lot of potential here, and I see it going to Ricky and Cage. So, I think that'll be really interesting if they go that way. Ooh. But if they don't, okay, I probably won't care so much. But there's the potential there.
That's a hot take right there. Put the fire underneath your video window or something.
Maybe.
Good stuff. And in the main event, like we said earlier, the Elites, the team of the Young Bucks and the Good Brothers, who are now supposedly the Elite for some reason, are taking on the Dark Order. That's a team of Stu Grayson, Evil Uno, Silver, and Reynolds. So the Good Brothers are getting paid, aren't they? They just keep showing up on AEW programming, showing up on Impact, their home base. Then they keep showing up on BTE, so they get a little bit more cash, blah, blah, blah. Good Brothers are really, they're the stars of this show, aren't they?
Yeah, seems like it. Yeah, they're showing up. They're beating people up. They're looking relaxed while they do it. I don't know.
They're pulling a very WWE trope here, where they keep playing will the Young Bucks and the Good Brothers coexist and be able to trust each other? And it's not my favorite trope in wrestling.
I don't really understand
why we're doing it.
Why the Young Bucks would trust them. Like, I truly don't get how. I don't know. I'm having a hard time following how we got here because they still seem quite at odds with Callis. So,
right, and it seems like Callis is the reason we're doing all this infighting.
Yeah,
so, as the invisible hand waits to do something.
He's been doing some like tweet promotion too, where he's talking about like sometimes friends need to be shed like clothes and stuff. So it's like, why are the Young Bucks in a match this week? Like, I thought they were shed. Like, what is happening?
On the other side of the coin, the Dark Order are in the midst of a pretty big face transition, and this could be a giant step for them if they can get the win.
Yeah, totally.
So that's AEW, isn't it?
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah,
I feel like Dark Order is going to go, or not going to go over here. I feel like it's going to be Young Bucks and the Good Brothers, just because the main event.
Yeah, exactly. Meanwhile, on NXT on Wednesday, we've got 3 major matches up in play. You got Finn Balor and Kyle O'Reilly teaming up to take on Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch. They are the NXT Tag Team Champions, but this is a non-title match. Tim, Finn Balor has no friends.
No, I know. He's got no friends.
Yeah. But Kyle O'Reilly respects him enough to form this team, to make this bond. And I have questions now.
Okay.
Why? And here's really what it is. And I wrote this down for just to see what my brain will do.
Yeah.
If Finn Balor has to take out all members of the Kings of NXT, which includes defeating Pete Dunne and then these 2 guys on Wednesday, then are we looking at Pat McAfee versus Finn Balor down the line?
I mean, maybe, but that would be weird and probably not. I don't know. I don't know if that would be very good or very bad.
Well, we have to factor in Karrion Kross here because he has rightful claim to the title. So here's how he factors in. At TakeOver St. Valentine's Day Massacre on the February 14th, we will see Dunne and Balor have a match. Balor will win. He will retain the title. Karrion Kross and Balor will happen at WrestleMania week TakeOver, and Pat McAfee will cost Balor the title. Karrion Kross will go off, have his title, and do whatever he needs to do. Meanwhile, the singles whatever match will be McAfee and Finn.
That's actually not bad.
It gets the title away from that story.
Yeah.
It puts an emphasis. It's just like Cole and McAfee again, but now it's McAfee and Finn. Is there room for that? Is that interesting to people? Tell us in the chat. Tell us what you think. Tell us in the comments of this video. Tell us at timandjoelpod.com. Come on, tell us what you think.
Yeah, because I'm into it. So if you're not, yell at me.
Wonderful. And if you're interested in us, then keep talking, because here's the Dusty Cup quarterfinals. All right, MSK taking on Drake and Dane. It's a no-brainer, but it's going to be a good match, right?
Yeah. I'm excited. MSK is great. I'm curious to see if they can bring the same fire that they brought to their last match into this one. So
I'm looking forward to MSK trying to take down Killian Dane, a bigger man.
Yeah.
It's going to be some fun there. Yeah. And on the other side of the coin, you've got Grizzled Young Veterans. I didn't do the voice. They're taking on Rough Hour. That's a team of Leon Ruff and Kushida. Now, coincidentally, Rough Hour is a play on the movie Rush Hour. Rush Hour's main characters are Carter and Lee. The names of MSK are Nash Carter and Wes Lee. But none of this matters because Gargano's just going to cost Kushida and Ruff the match, sending the Grizzled Young Veterans to the semifinals. Kushida's going to have a match against Johnny Gargano, take over for the North American Championship, and take over St. Valentine's Day Massacre. I really just wanted to make that link for everyone.
Yeah, and Leon Ruff will sit at home.
No, poor Leon Ruff. Maybe it's going to be Ruff in theory.
That's what I was thinking is like a possible alternative. I don't know. I don't see it happening. We'll see.
I wouldn't mind seeing those two at least
too.
feud for some reason.
Do it.
Maybe Ruff and Cameron Grimes. I think it's time to see Grimes back.
It's been a while, yeah.
He's been injured, but I think I'd like to see Cameron Grimes make his return and have a full-on one-on-one story with Leon Ruff.
That would be funny. I can see that being very, very good.
Wonderful. Now, we have SmackDown. We have no matches announced. So that's all we can really tell you for this week.
Yeah. No, and our
it's going to be the go home to the Rumble.
Yeah.
Just lots of fireworks, lots of men and women tossing each other over the ring ropes while Michael Cole and whoever say, if this were the Royal Rumble, then they would have been eliminated. And we're going to sit there and be like, yeah, no, that's how the Rumble works.
Thank you.
And next week, you can expect our predictions over here at PW Unlimited. You can also check us out every Thursday night at 8 p.m. over at timandjoelpod.com, youtube.com/timandjoelpod. Tim, where can the kids find you?
Kids can find me at TimStoneP, TIMBSTONEP on Twitter.
And y'all can find me at Joel Pearl, JoelPearl. Once again, friends, we love doing this for you every week. So, hey, get your friends talking about Tim and Joel Pod, would ya? And ladies, gentlemen, friends beyond the binary, enjoy your week in wrestling. We'll see you next week.